What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday. And we've got some NFL stuff to take a look at today, some NFL-wide news that could theoretically impact the Seahawks in some way. Not necessarily likely to impact the Seahawks in some way because these things, they got to get through a lot before they actually get down to the level of directly affecting your team. But this is definitely worth talking about, even if the odds of anything happening on Seattle's side remain low for the moment. Two stud players in the NFC East have now requested trades. And I know people are going to be asking about this. I know people are going to be pondering the connection between this and the Seahawks. So I'm going to take at least one video here to address it real quick because I think that the thought is not without merit. I think there is some reason to believe that there should be a degree of interest here, at least on one front. At least on one front, I get it. Please click the thumbs up button on this video. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. I'm going to lead off with the one that I don't think there's much gas behind. Terry McLaurin requested a trade from the Washington Commanders yesterday. It was announced right before the first preseason game. Saw it reported from a bunch of different places, so it's definitely true. And there was some buzz from some Seahawks fans saying that there should be some interest here from the Seahawks. I don't really see this one. I don't think this one makes a lot of sense. For one, Terry McLaurin is almost 30 years old. He's going to turn 30 years old right around the start of the season. So his age doesn't really match up all that well with the Seahawks' current timeline. This is not a guy that you can expect to be playing at a high level for the next even 5 years. I don't think that's very realistic. This is a guy that you would be trading for to try to go win with right now, with not much margin for anything other than that. This one, I mean, look, Terry McLaurin is a really good player. He is. He has been a 1,000-yard receiver for 5 straight seasons. It came very close his rookie year, so it's almost 6 straight seasons. Excuse me. Has produced with some pretty shoddy quarterback play in previous years. But he's also, the reason why he wants this trade is because he's looking for big money that he currently is not securing. Washington doesn't want to give him that third contract, much like we were, I guess. I don't want to say we didn't want to give DK Metcalf the big third contract, but we were clearly not enamored with it. And like DK Metcalf requested a trade earlier this offseason, McLaurin is requesting a trade now. That being said, I do want to say, I think that this is more of him wanting to get paid rather than wanting to leave Washington. Like, why would you want to leave Washington when they just made an NFC championship game run in the first year of a new coach and the first year of a new quarterback? It's not like Terry McLaurin is dissatisfied with the situation in Washington right now, and he's looking around thinking, "Oh, I want to go to a team like Cleveland. I want to go to a team like who else is out there? The Jets. I want to go to a team like one of those teams." No, of course not. He'd love to be in Washington. There are only a few teams out there that have brighter immediate futures than Washington. Right now, Washington is one of those teams that is poised to be very, very good in the very near future, but the guy wants his money, and I can understand that. Can't really blame him for that. It makes me feel like a trade is less likely to happen. I think what's more likely to happen is that Washington gives him at least some of what he wants. So I don't know if anything's going to happen here anyway. Washington is poised to have a pretty pivotal season here, potentially a big season. I don't think they want to be giving away their number one wide receiver right before the season starts and force Jaden Daniels to work with Deebo Samuel as his number one receiver. I don't think anything is really going to happen here, but even if something does happen, I mean, look, Terry McLaurin I understand that he's a better receiver, or at the very least has been more productive than DK Metcalf in the NFL, especially recently. But he's probably going to be more expensive in a commensurate way to his better production and better play. And he's also older. So if you're going to move DK Metcalf out, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to just say, okay, we're going to swap out DK Metcalf for Terry McLaurin and have the same problem, where we might not feel comfortable giving Terry McLaurin $32-33 million a year, because we, theoretically anyway, I don't know if we were or weren't, we weren't comfortable giving DK Metcalf $30 million a year. I don't think the math changes that much with McLaurin. Yeah, this one doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I did want to touch on that because I know people are going to be asking about it. I know the thought is going to cross some people's minds, and I don't want to say never, but I'm not really feeling this one. This, on the other hand, this situation is now officially blown up. Micah Parsons has officially requested a trade as of like half an hour ago. He posted a very long message on his X account, very long. Go read it if you have it. I'm not going to put it here, but he outlines everything that has happened with him and the Cowboys over the last couple of years. He's very clearly upset. I don't think this is just a thing where he wants money. I think this is a thing where he's not happy with the way he's being treated, to the extent that he might want out more than he wants money. This seems to be personal. This seems to be a genuine animosity is what I'm feeling from this situation right now. And I don't know why the Cowboys have allowed it to get to this point. Maybe they're genuinely unwilling to pay him because they already paid CD and Dak and they feel like they don't want to be paying another guy top of the market. Regardless, though, there's every reason to believe that Micah Parsons is either going to get traded or something very ugly is going to happen between him and Dallas, like him just straight up not being willing to play in games, or basically announcing, look, don't even try to give me a contract offer at this point. I'm going to play out this year and then just leave. I don't want to, something's going to happen here beyond the typical scope of just the player is a little unhappy with his contract situation. And it's hard to blame Micah. Micah has done everything you could ask for a player like him. He has been one of the greatest edge rushers in NFL history to start his career. He's only 26 years old, former first-round pick. He's got the pedigree, makes the Pro Bowl every year. He's made all-pro teams. He's competed for Defensive Player of the Year. He's done things that only the Reggie Whites and the Lawrence Taylors of the world have done. 52.5 sacks across this first 63 games of his career, plus all the versatility he offers as a player, because he's not just a pure edge rusher. This is the kind of guy that should never become available for trade. This is the kind of guy that you draft and you keep on your team until the wheels fall off, because he's that good and that valuable. And yet somehow, some way, he has become available because the Cowboys, I don't really know what they're doing rightfully, but they're doing something that has put them in this very undesirable, but at this point maybe unavoidable situation. This is a guy that I would at least strongly pursue in some kind of a trade. The timeline doesn't matter as much with a guy like Parsons because he's only 26. He just turned 26. So therefore, even if the Seahawks are not a great team in 2025, Parsons can be part of your plans for 2026, 27, 28, 29, even like 30, 31. He should be good. I mean, really good for a while. I know he's a little undersized. I know that the way he plays means he may not have the longest career in the world, but there's every reason to believe he's going to give you another 4 or 5 years of elite play and probably a lot of really good play after that. Now, the price is going to be steep, but this is a price that I think makes more sense to be willing to pay. The Seahawks do not have that elite edge rusher right now. They have a bunch of guys that they like, a bunch of guys that they think are good, but I do think that they're lacking somebody who can really just carry them to success, carry them to wins. Their best edge rusher right now might be Uchenna Nwosu, who we don't know about his health. It might be Boye Mafe, who kind of had a little bit of an arrested third-year bump last year. It wasn't really a bump at all, honestly. There may have been mitigating circumstances, but we haven't seen him have that breakout Pro Bowl year yet. And maybe it's DeMarcus Lawrence, who is 34 years old? We don't really know. We don't really know what we have there. I think we have a pretty deep room, but at the same time, it's also a little bit spread thin, where none of those guys are certified killers. And I think that Mike Macdonald would have a lot of fun with somebody like this. And there is definitely a package you could put together that makes sense. If you wanted to do a first-round pick and a second-round pick and Boye Mafe for Parsons, I think that would make a good deal of sense. I think that would be something that wouldn't completely break you in terms of your future capital. 2 firsts and Mafe or 2 firsts and Hall. Obviously, things get a little bit more uncomfortable, but I still think you need to at least strongly consider doing it. This is how you obtain players of this caliber. You don't get many opportunities to do this. You have to at least seriously think about it and be willing to break some eggs in order to get a player like this at this age. Some people are going to talk about the supposed bad blood between Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. I have to believe those guys are going to get over it, no problem. Especially at this point, where Micah Parsons would probably agree with a lot of the things that DeMarcus Lawrence has said, now with the information that he knows about what's going on with him and the Cowboys. So I'm not even really thinking about that personally. I don't think that is anything that would cause problems here. Now, this all remains very unlikely. Micah Parsons first he has to actually get traded. And however upset he may be, the Cowboys might just decide, no, we're not going to do that. You can either show up and play, or we can find the pants off of you. Micah has not made big money in the NFL yet. He's made good money, but he hasn't made monster money yet. So therefore, he is going to feel the heat a little bit of any fines or punishments levied against him. That is going to get him back to the team quicker than it would be for a player that already had made a lot of money. Therefore, I don't know if anything's going to actually happen here right now. I think he desperately wants to get out of there. I do. And I think the Cowboys have shown they're not that interested in extending him. That doesn't mean anything is actually going to happen. And then Seattle has to actually get involved. Seattle has to actually put an offer on the table that Dallas is willing to take. And it has to all go through. This is an obstacle course that is not easy to run. This is a set of circumstances that are not going to be easy to achieve. And you still have some of the same concerns. Is this a good idea to do when you don't know what your offense is going to be in 2025? If the offense is bad, then Micah Parsons, maybe he comes in here, makes this defense the best defense in the league, which I think would be a very realistic possibility. But what does it matter if your offense isn't good enough to balance things out a little bit? The answer is, it doesn't matter a heck of a lot in the grand scheme. Maybe you're a playoff team, maybe you're a good team, but you're not trading for Micah Parsons to be a good team. You're trading for him to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if it's wise to go after a Super Bowl when you just got a new offensive coordinator, quarterback, new receiver, some new offensive linemen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's not the exact right timeline, but I think it's close enough. And look, at the end of the day, if you're John Schneider, you should have confidence that your moves are going to work. If you don't have confidence in your moves to work, then you shouldn't have made those moves. So if he shies away from doing something like this because he's not confident in the moves that he made, then that would concern me on a different level. That tells me that you're just doing stuff without actually thinking it's going to work. All right. Very interesting situation here. Had to spend some time on it. These are two very good players. Parsons much more so. And again, I don't think McLaurin is something we as Seahawks fans need to seriously think about, but this one merits your attention and it merits some discussion. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More stuff later.